Today we're going to do it with broccoli. Broccoli, it lends itself really nice to the Asian flavors. But I'll talk about some other vegetables that you can use it. So I'm a big fan of bok choy. You can use a Chinese cabbage. You'll see cabbages and broccoli and green vegetables such as green beans very often in stir fries.
So Chinese cabbage, that's a small one?
Yeah, there's the big one. It's also known as Napa cabbage, but then there's bok choy, which is a little bit different. It's got more of a green leaf to it. And my favorite is baby bok choy. So baby bok choy is probably about that big. And what I like to blanch them first. We're talking a little bit about blanching a video series that we did. And it's where you pre-cook a pasta, a vegetable, things like that in boiling salted water. And then ice water to discontinue the cooking. When you discontinue the cooking, you get that bright green. Of this broccoli that I did for this, I blanched this really quick. I threw it in the boiling water for probably about a minute. Reason why is because I want it to still have some crunch to it. But I think it lends really other carrots, onions, and shiitake. I think shiitake lend well to those Asian flavors. It's got a nice earthy Asian flavor and it goes really well. But it's really the vegetable of your choice and the protein of your choice. Again, you could do vegetarian, you could do beef, pork, shrimp, any of that.
It's good for leftovers too, right?
Absolutely. And what's really, thank you for mentioning leftovers, because both the stir fry and the fried rice are really great for leftovers. So, you could go into your fridge, and even if you have meat that's kind of already cooked, maybe some leftover roast beef or things like that, when you're stir frying it, you're just heating it up real quick. So it's really nice. You could go into your refrigerator and figure out what leftover vegetables you have, what leftover proteins, and you could think outside the box and really be creative. So I'm going to turn on the pan here, and I'm going to start getting it a little bit hot because I want it nice and hot. So in the meantime, we'll talk about some of the sauces you can use. So there's all different sauces out there. One thing that I have to stress about stir frying, fried rice, it's really more simple than people think. So there's so many different ways that you see them, but staple ingredients: garlic, ginger, chilies if you like, soy sauce usually, hoisin we're using today, and I'll get into hoisin a little bit. Hoisin sauce is really nice because it's a soybean paste and it's a staple Chinese sauce, but what's nice about it is it's got all sorts of cool flavors in it. It's star anise, cinnamon, different flavors like that kind of lend to it. Ginger, and it's a very complex sauce, and you only need a little bit. Other sauces that you can use. Chili sauce is really hot these days. So if you want to soy sauce, if you weren't into a soy sauce or a salty type of thing, and you want to do that sweet, spicy Asian chili sauce, you can use that. And there's also a bunch of different stir-fry sauces. So if you're the home cook and you want to sauce, there's a bunch of different ones you can do. I've got some, but there's also some good store-bought fry sauces that work. So before I start, I want to talk about using garlic. We're using ginger. They're staple. This is what ginger looks like when you buy it at the store. Might be a little intimidating. Ginger root. So the ginger root, one of my favorite spices. When I peel it, the smells and the citrusy flavor of ginger is just amazing. I think it lends well to many things. So you can also buy ginger in little tubes. They sell them in the supermarket now, so that it's already kind of prepared for you. But you can take this, you can prepare it yourself and either soak it in maybe a little rice wine vinegar or a little oil, put it in a little jar in your refrigerator, and it'll last. It'll last, a couple weeks easy. So I learned a trick how to peel ginger, and I'll show you my trick on peeling ginger. It's a spoon. It's a basic spoon. The ginger has all these little nooks and crannies, so it's kind of hard to get in there with a peeler. When you do it with a knife, you might lose a lot. I've seen Chinese chefs just cut up the whole thing and leave the skin right out. But we're going to peel it with a spoon. So you can see that spoon actually does a really nice job of peeling that ginger. And it's minimal waste. You get the idea. You know, you get that spoon in there, it kind of takes off all, oh, smell that. I mean, I wish you could smell this. I love ginger. So that's my little tip on peeling ginger. Use a spoon. Just kind of scrapes the skin right out. Very easy. Nice little tip. So, in the meantime, we're going to heat this pan back up. You want to get this thing smoking. So, medium high to high on your stove. And you're going to want to kind of see it, you know, start to smoke a little bit. While I'm waiting for that wok to heat up, I'm going to take my beef. I'm going to coat it in a little bit of cornstarch. So the cornstarch kind of lends that crispiness to it, keeps it from sticking a little bit, and it also, you can see that wok is starting to get nice and hot. Also, it makes a texture and a crispiness to it, and it'll help the sauce adhere to the meat. So the cornstarch, I tend to stay away from salt in stir fries because the hoisin sauce or soy sauce tend to be a little salty. Put a little white pepper in there if you want a little white pepper. And we're just going to kind of coat this beef. Kind of see, I'm just coating it similar to how we did our ninja chicken last week. All right? Get that right in there.
Does that also, does that help thicken it too?
It does help thicken it. So, you know, I'm using a little hoisin, which is actually thick already. Yeah. But if you're using straight soy sauce, rice wine vinegar, things like that, that cornstarch will absolutely help it thicken it. And when it thickens, it sticks to the vegetables. And you don't want too much, just enough to coat. So we've got this, I've got a little bit of vegetable oil. I'm going to pour right in here. Wok is smoking hot, you can see that. And I'm going to throw my beef right in. So in the meantime, I've got 2 spoons. There's also, they still have woks that are more flat on the sides. Stir fry it around. Is in there. Turn it up a little bit. Sesame oil. Flavor a little bit. And then I'm going to add my ginger and garlic. To your preference, but for this amount, I'm going to add about a teaspoon of each. That's spicy. Oh. This is where you add chilies. You know, you could use crushed red pepper, Szechuan peppercorns. There's all sorts of really nice Asian chilies. And what you get is you get that nice, sweet and spicy thing going on. So, I mean, it just smells amazing here. You want that wok nice and hot, getting that sear. You see that cornstarch crisp it up a little bit. And the key is really moving around. Moving around. See it kind of cooks quick. You can hear that nice sear going on. If it starts to stick and you need a little bit more oil, you can add a little bit more oil. Again, with this type of cooking, I'm really not using salt too much because of the fact that the ingredients that we're going to use, the hoisin sauce, it's a little salty.
That smells amazing.
So, you got this really nice thing going on here. You can see that smoke. If you're at home, you can just open up a window. I tend to set up my smoke alarm quite a bit at home. And then we're going to add my broccoli. And this one happens pretty quick here. I'm while this is happening, let's start our fried rice. Hopefully you can hear me over this searing sound. All right. So look at that. That's exactly what we want. We're just heating the broccoli up right now. Alright, so this is the point where that meat is pretty much cooked, the broccoli's heating up. At the very end, I'm going to glaze it with that oyster sauce. And in the meantime, let's start to heat up my other pan. Not as quite as hot. Because I'm going to start my fried rice. I'm going to start my fried rice by cooking some eggs. Talk about fried rice a little bit too. Like it could. Fried rice is very similar to the stir fry. It's a staple. And it's often served actually right before dessert. And fried rice, when you're making it, important is that you use rice that's, believe it or not, cooked the day before. It's actually use like 2 or 3 days of rice.
What kind of oil? What kind of oil sauteing with?
A little vegetable oil, and I like to add just a little color, for flavor rather. You got a nice little thing going on here. Take that aside for a second. All right, in the meantime, got that hot wok going. You see how I'm spreading that around? I'm gonna fry these eggs. Real quick, just basically scrambled eggs. And the scrambled egg, we're basically seasoning the, we're gonna garnish the fried rice with it. Real quick. Some cooks will add the egg right to the rice. I like to cook it a little time, and it looks really nice to.
Chef, there's a question. When you're stir frying with what kind of oil? Add a little sesame oil as well.
Vegetable oil. You could use canola oil. They have higher burning point rates. Sesame oil is more like an extra virgin olive oil, where it actually has a lower smoking point, so it'll burn quicker. Oil lends a really nice flavor to it. All right, so rice for a second. It's real important that you use a long grain rice. So when I talk about long grain rice, your long grain rices are your typical Uncle Ben's rice, but your Asian rices like basmati or jasmine, these are long grain rices. They tend to have a little less starch. So a short grain rice is what you use for like a risotto. And when you're making the risotto, an Italian dish, as you're stirring it, the starch comes out of that shorter grain. And that's where you get that kind of that creaminess without adding cream in a risotto. For this rice, there's less starch. I cooked it off yesterday. It's a basmati rice. I basically just used a basic recipe, 1.5 parts water to 1 part rice, a pinch of salt, and a little bit of oil or butter, whatever you prefer. I cook it off. No stirring. When you put the salt in, you can give it one little stir, but then turn it right down, cover it, and let it cook. And once it cooks, then you can kind of fluff it up. And what I do is for fried rice, I take it and I let it cool for the next day. Put it on a pan, put it in your refrigerator. If the next day when you pull it out, if it seems clumpy or whatnot, just make sure it'll flow. You can see that rice is kind of flowing. It's not real clumpy. That's going to lend well to a fried rice. You want that little bit of that crispiness with your fried rice. It's pretty important. So, got our beef stir fry over here. I hope that didn't go too quick. And got our eggs set aside for the fried rice. And slowly but surely, I'll start making our fried rice. I wonder if anybody out there has done any wok cooking at home. If you have, chime in. And we could do other things with wok. So we're talking about fried rice. We're doing a basic version of fried rice.
Can you add other vegetables to fried rice?
Absolutely. That's the great thing. You can add whatever you want to fried rice. These days, you know, you go to a barbecue place, and I've seen barbecue pork fried rice with a whole different flavor profile. You know, like
Barbecue egg rolls, yeah.
But what's great is, so fried rice, I've seen a bunch of different kinds. It's said in China that there's many Chinese chefs that are really against seasoning fried rice. That the onions and the ginger, garlic, and the hot from the pan really their flavor. If you're not adding soy sauce, which some Chinese chefs do, and they add it to get that nice brown color and obviously a little bit of salt and flavor. But if you're just doing your butter, oil, sesame, onions, garlic, again, you can add a little bit of chili for heat if you like. But fried rice, you can add the same thing. You can add curry, more of a Thai kind of fried rice. There's all sorts of Thai basil and spices and mint, believe it or not.
Did you actually, some of the rice can be up to 3 days old?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I prefer it. So, believe it or not, in the recipes of fried rice that I've learned, really you want to use that leftover rice. One chef, a celebrity chef these days, named Simon, he says, hey, if you don't have any left, make it and put it in the freezer. But this shortcut that same effect if you have rice. The recipes and the Chinese chefs that I've worked with, 1 day is fine. Actually prefer a couple of days older. Reason why? The reason why is so, believe it or not, a little bit, believe it or not, and it lends to that texture of fried rice. At some point, we might do paella, get that crispy texture as well. That's a whole nother. I've got some paella pans at home. Paella, let me know. Okay, fried rice. Let's get this. So we're gonna get this thing pretty hot. Again, medium high. It's gonna go quick. We want to get that nice texture with the rice. So,
Do you have a favorite Asian chef? I know you talked about Ming Tsai.
yeah, Morimoto.
Yeah.
And Nobu.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really talented chefs. When I went to India, believe it or not, I spent a month in India and I worked with some really talented Chinese chefs there where they had these huge woks. And the food they did in these woks was just unbelievable. It was fast and furious and amazing. So I'm using butter in this, and butter has a high ratio. So I'm gonna be real careful. And I'm not put too much in there because I don't want it to burn right away. And once you do this, you really want to start the process. Because you see that butter, it's going. So, what we're going to do now is put our onions in there. Right? Put our garlic in there. Right? Put our ginger. Again, this is the foundation. Garlic, ginger, onions, chili. You can see that kind of, you get that nice little char, that little bit of smoke, that's flavor in that food. Some Chinese chefs, sometimes you eat that Chinese food and you're like, I just can't emulate that flavor. I tried it and I can't get it. Some Chinese chefs don't use any oil. They put the vegetables in dry. And what it does is it gets that nice caramelization, almost a little char. I don't know if you can see that. I've got a little char going on there. Kind of see that nice little, almost little burnt ends of onions in there right now. You want to cook that a little bit. Get that nice and toasted. But you can leave it a little al dente. And then what we're going to do, I'm going to season it a little bit. So there's all different seasonings you can do. Again, I was talking about the simplicity of just salt and pepper. If you're not going to use soy sauce, you can finish it with hoisin. You can finish it with different sauces. You can use rice vinegar. There's a Chinese 5 spice, which is a wonderful spice. I've got a little bit of cumin here that I mixed with a little Chinese 5 spice. Just a little bit. It's kind of powerful. I think I put a half a teaspoon in that right there. All right? Get that going there. Now I've got some scallions. I'm going to try to use the whites of the scallions, and then I'm going to garnish with the tops, the scallions at the end. So you see I've got some good caramelization there, but it's not burnt. All right? I'm going to add just a little bit more butter, just to coat that rice. All right? Get that in there, get that going. Now we're going to throw our rice in. And a little bit of sesame oil. Not a lot, just a drop. Throw it right in there. Again, that rice has got a little bit of dryness to it, a little bit of crispiness to it. Make sure you open those if you're at home. You can kind of see I got those nice little kernel on here. The rice is picking up the flavor at the bottom of that pan. And at this point, you can keep it simple, add some ingredients. We're going to add a couple ingredients. I'm going to add just a little bit more oil just because it's sticking a little bit. And I'm going to add a teaspoon of that oyster sauce. I love the flavor. Right? Just a tad bit, not a lot. You'd be surprised how much ketchup is used in Chinese cooking. When you go and get your, and it's got that really kind of that red color. Ketchup, believe it or not. So this is going really quick. Smells fantastic. All the rice is coated. I apologize for the smoke, but that's a lot cooking. This kitchen, and you should see the smoke coming from the big lots. Well, let's throw our scallions right in there. A traditional accompaniment to peas and carrots. So, got my plate right there. Smells fantastic. Oh, what did we forget? Eggs. This is where you want to add those eggs in. You can chop them up a little bit. I personally love eggs in fried rice. I think that it's a staple ingredient.
Yeah, you did say it was ketchup, right? Somebody's asking.
Yeah, believe it or not. A lot of ketchup is actually used in Asian cooking. As far as, like I said, the sweet and sour sauce that you get, things like that. You see that egg right in there? For me, if we get fried rice from a restaurant and it doesn't have egg, I'm very disappointed. But if you're not a fan of eggs, that's okay. You can omit the egg. And again, what we have here is just a method and a base that you can really build upon. You can add your favorite vegetables. Baby corn is really nice. Peas and carrots. Snap peas. Whatever your preference is. Baby bok choy, like I talked about, things like that. All right, so wow, this just smells fantastic. So I'm just going to spoon a little bit right on a plate. Put it off to the side, let the rice be the star of its own instead of putting it under the stir fry. Nice little on there. And you know, doing this at home, I think it's real important and it would be real fun if you have chopsticks. You know, props. At the school, we do themed meals and we do an Asian event, or any event for that matter. We try to, you know, kind of make it really festive. So I might have Chinese to-go containers, chopsticks, and cookies. So if you're doing home for guests, try that out. They'll be really impressed with it. It kind of whole level of it to another presentation. I always talk about presentation, right? And I think sometimes, people look at restaurant shit like, wow, they make it look easy, and they it's really presentation. I think it's about even things. You take that presentation, elevate it, whether it be right next cool herbs, things like that, or prop on the food, like Chinese sticks, things like that. So another thing, just for really a little texture, a little color, a little flavor, and just a garnish, a little black and white sesame seed. A little conversation piece. I think people think sesame seeds, they're not really thinking about black sesame seeds, white and black, and it just lends to a nice present. So this is what we have. We have our stir-fried ginger, beef, and broccoli. Again, stir-fry, you could do anything with it. Any type of protein, any type of vegetable, and it's the technique, I guess, is what I'm trying to do, because once you have the technique down, and it's really fast, cooking in a wok. Another thing, frying in a wok is really good. You just got to be really careful and have a slotted spoon or a little, we call them spider luge, that French term, but just something to kind of scoop, fried tempura, shrimp, things like that. And David Chang was just saying about boiling pasta in a wok. He thinks that woks are the best pasta cookers. I tend to agree. It's the shape of the wok and the way the heat addresses it. Wok cooking. So there we are. We have our ginger, beef, broccoli stir fry. We've got some fried rice with a little egg in there, some scallion, ginger, garlic, sesame oil, and you could garnish this up with the vegetables that the Asians use a lot. They'll do little daikon flowers, which is a radish that's like a carrot, a little carrot garnish. Oftentimes that you go to Chinese restaurants, you'll see these cool garnishes, scallion flowers, things like that, and they really take their time, and it lends to a really cool looking plate when they do that. And it shows their craftsmanship. I think the Chinese have a really dedicated craft when it comes to their cooking, and they do a great job.
About lo mein, can you do lo mein in there?
Again, yeah, so great question. So the same technique, when you go to these restaurants, you'll see, you can get stir-fried udon noodles, or stir-fried rice noodles, or lo mein, or soba noodles. They all work well with this arena. The same exact method. And, and if you don't have soba noodles or lo mein at home, believe it or not, you can use linguine. It's you cook off the pasta, and again, if you're gluten-free, rice noodles work so well, and you can kind of stir-fry the whole thing, same concept, just omitting the rice and using noodles instead. I love both. If I was to do a thing at home, I'd have noodles and rice. And I mean, that's pretty much our stir-fry for the day.
Any questions, email me.
And if there's any questions or any comments, please, let us know, and let me know. We've got all sorts of ideas. Pizza thing next week. I'm really excited about that. That's going to be a little bit different. And
a cook-off.
It's going to be a cook-off. We're going to toss some dough in the air. That's going to be all sorts of other ideas. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you learned something, and I hope that you'll take it and apply other ingredients to this technique. It's a basic, pretty simple technique. It seems once you do it once, I think that you'll be a pro. You'll be a pro on the wok in no time.
Can you buy those little to-go containers?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that'd be a great idea. And what's nice is if you have a bunch of people over, like smaller containers, and have almost when the Chinese celebrate, they'll do all sorts of different dishes. So you might see, like on Chinese New Year, 8 different dishes. We celebrated Lunar New Year here at the school, and at Lunar New Year, they'll have 7 to 10 different courses, whether it be a fish course, a rice course, a noodle course, a vegetable course. So the little Chinese to-go containers, I think, are great because they can sample all different things. So yeah, let us know. Let's see. And we're excited, and thank you very much.